Howdy ho, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Eric Taylor here with Barricade Cyber for this Thursday edition. Everybody is doing well today. How's everybody been liking what Josh and Jax did over the week? Um, it's been good to see different styles, right? So um, definitely let Jerry know what you thought of us. It's good to hear some feedback. I personally want those who have watched Monday and today to give me a message and let me know how can I make my stuff better. I'm always trying to make it better. I'm always trying to critique it, kind of like Jerry does, and I'm sure Josh does, and as well as Jax. But I want to hear some of the criticism. So when you go back and listen to both of them, definitely give me some critiques how it can be a little bit better. I do know that I do need to get an audio board so that way when we are streaming the videos, it could be a little bit of a better audio. So that is something I think Josh was giving me some pointers and stuff like that. But we'll be working on that for the next round. So waiting for everybody to pile in there. I know everybody's drinking their coffee right now. I'm kind of on a major water kick right now, so bottoms up if you will. Eric needs more spice. Carrie, go to my normal Barricade Cyber stuff, especially the unnamed podcast. You'll get all the spice from me, spiciness that you want. That's where we just go unfiltered, unpolitically correct. This one I want to be respectful. I want there's a sort of boundary that you don't want to cross. So this one is me more reserved. So if you want the spicy, go check out the unnamed podcast series on Barricade Cyber, and you'll get plenty of spice. I promise you. And Gary, that's I don't want to talk publicly, but yes, we had a private conversation. We're going through and trying to figure out some stuff to help you with your resume and things of that nature. So hopefully we'll be able to come up to something in short order to be able to help you land your re-entry point. But hello everybody, thanks for joining. We'll be kicking this thing off in just a moment. Here's a question for the group while we're waiting for everybody to pile in. What Memorial Day, if you're in the U.S., what Memorial Day plans do you potentially have for this weekend coming up? Also, while we're waiting, please remember to, of course, make a comment in here because each episode is a half of a point of your CVE credits. So I failed to mention that last time. Definitely make sure you are, posting your stuff that you're here, so that way you can be audited. Or if you ever get audited, don't want you audited. But if you ever get audited, you can be able to prove that you were here, you did attend, things of that nature, right? So, talk about Memorial Day weekends helps prove you were here. So, see some beach time, some more studying. Saba, what you studying for? Got some gardening going on this weekend. Very cool, very cool. Been on our property here. We got a little bit of a raised flower bed that been thinking about trying to put some vegetables in this year. Maybe a little late on some of it, but I don't know. May mess with it. At Kimberly, I actually was speaking of barbecue. We did the pulled pork, so we definitely had some barbecue yesterday from the Traeger. Michael, congratulations on the CISSP, man. Good job, good job. I see a lot of barbecue in. Good old pastime. Definitely seen a couple. I think a couple people say they're going to do some beach and barbecue. All right, all right. So let's go and kick this thing off. We are 6 minutes past the hour. So let's go ahead and kick off today's episode. Of course, if you don't like my teaching or anybody else's teaching, definitely go to CISOseries.com. These are where we are getting the stories from each and every day for first things, or not first things first, the the top cyber news. I got to get that correct. But here we go. Let's go ahead and kick this off, ladies and gentlemen.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity.
Oh, I already got a technical issue. 1 second.
It's Thursday, 6, 2022. Source libraries leaked keys for research. Several developers reported that two popular open source libraries, Python's CTX and PHP's PHPass, have been altered to steal AWS credentials and keys. Combined, these libraries have been downloaded over 3 million times. The actor behind the change came forward to Bleeping Computer as security researcher Eunice Aiden, who goes by Sock Puppets online. He said he made the alteration to show the maximum impact of such an attack, claiming it was ethical research. Aiden claims all data received has been deleted and not used. He was able to take over the libraries by using a bot to crawl open source registries, looking for maintainers with custom domain names that had expired, letting them buy the domain and reset the password.
Here we go. It's not eggplant spicy, but this is going to get spicy. So, all right. This right here screams. Here we go. Y'all all heard a supply chain attacks. This is a classic supply chain attack. Even though he was quote unquote ethical, was he really ethical? And, or did he get outed in this situation? Right. I scream about this all the freaking time. I really do. So you are downloading open source and public repositories, putting them on your stuff to potentially use it in a production environment, and you're not going through and sanitizing the code, right? So, yeah, no offense, if you're not going through the code that you're using from third-party tools to actually see what's going on, then yeah, you should have your crap leaked. I'm not a programmer by any means. So 9 times out of 10, I don't use open source technology. I may use a vendor that leverages and uses the open source technology. But me personally, I'm not really doing a whole lot of that because I personally can't sanitize the code. That's just not my wheelhouse, right? I'm definitely not a Python coder. I can do a ton of stuff in PowerShell, but definitely not Python. And there is one other thing to really weigh in on this one, right? So the fact that you could put a code in and actually steal AWS keys makes you wonder, were the keys hard coded in part of the code that they actually, so you're leveraging inside of the public cloud infrastructure? So, so they use Python and PHP libraries. Basically, you got to stop using potential code that you just don't understand what it's doing, right? I mean, that's just the crutch of this. Start auditing your source code. Start doing sanitation checks. There's actually websites. I'll have to dig it up. Maybe somebody here in the chat already knows what it is, but I do know there's some public resources. It may even be a paid service where you can drop your final code that is getting ready to be compiled and have them go through and do a sanity check on it, right? And that may be a good thing to do if you're not very advanced in programming, especially in Python, which I wouldn't be. So, but that's just me. But here we go. Oh, we're going to get spicy again. Here we go.
DuckDuckGo gives Microsoft a pass on trackers. After being discovered by security researchers, DuckDuckGo CEO Gabriel Weinberg confirmed that his privacy-focused mobile browser allows Microsoft trackers on third-party sites due to the terms of a search agreement with the company. Weinberg said DuckDuckGo is working with Microsoft to try to remove this restriction and that Microsoft does not associate click behavior with a user profile. This agreement does not impact the DuckDuckGo search engine. In a statement to Bleeping Computer, DuckDuckGo claimed its browser still offers better tracking protection compared to other browsers as it blocks tracking scripts prior to loading.
All right, so apparently DuckDuckGo, who's supposed to be all about privacy, it's just letting Microsoft do whatever they want to do. Which raises another question. This was apparent or leaked out because someone's doing their research, right, about DuckDuckGo. You can kind of see the tweet here, right? How many other companies is DuckDuckGo allowing tracking going on? But yet it doesn't impact search. So supposedly, uh, I was always suspicious, and this is maybe a little bit of my lack of knowledge of DuckDuckGo, but most of the time, if you're having a free product, you've got to get the money to run that free product in some way, shape, or form, whether it be ads or you're selling off your data, because you're mining, user activity. There's always got to be some sort of revenue stream in order to be able to sell this or use this thing or to offer it as a free service. In this world, everybody, nothing is truly for free. So you're giving away something, whether it's your intellectual data or your browser history, or subjecting yourself to tracking cookies and ads, or you paying them flat out with cash. And you're able to use it, and that helps also because it takes time, right? It takes time, money, resources to build out a product. That's why you see a lot of this stuff in your games. So, I mean, it's not surprising to me that DuckDuckGo is doing it, because I did wonder how they're doing their revenue stream. How are they paying for the billboards and the ads that you see on TV? So, I think there's going to be more about DuckDuckGo to really come out over the next couple weeks, couple months, to really show that DuckDuckGo is really not all what it's cracked up to be. So, definitely bookmark, keep this on your radar, if you will, and see what DuckDuckGo is actually doing. We'll see how that goes.
Microsoft weathers the vulnerability storm. An analysis of NIST's National Vulnerability Database by the pen firm Redscan found that 2021 broke all records for reported vulnerabilities, with 18,439 reported, or about 50 flaws per day. Of this, Microsoft saw 1,212 vulnerabilities reported, down 5% on the year, and the first time Microsoft saw vulnerabilities decrease. More significantly, critical vulnerabilities decreased 47% on the year, and Windows Server vulnerabilities were down 50%. This was somewhat balanced by a 280% increase in Microsoft browser vulnerabilities across Internet Explorer and Edge. Remote code execution and privilege elevation vulnerabilities accounted for 75% of those reported.
Oh, here we go. All right, so Microsoft is known for their vulnerabilities, right? I mean, it just seems like if you're watching any DFIR or zero-day exploits or any of those magical hashtags on Twitter, you'll start seeing these things daily. And it seems like, so let me give you a little bit of a backstory. Microsoft, for the longest time, at least until about a year, maybe 2 years ago, they had a very good bug bounty program where you would find a bug, you would submit it to Microsoft, you'll get some money, blah, blah, blah. Afraid, yeah, exactly. Ask Microsoft about Print Nightmare. Those who don't know, I don't know if Print Nightmare is actually fixed, except for upgrade to Windows 11, which isn't really prime time, right? It's not really designed for enterprises yet. A lot of stuff is there, but anyway, I digress because ADHD will start kicking in a moment, and I'll go on at a complete tangent, keep you here for 3 years. But Microsoft had a pretty good relationship with the bug bounty community, and they were paying out, a pretty good price that, for the things they were submitting. Now, the reason that you're starting to see a whole lot more 0 days is because Microsoft was not paying the bug bounty community a fair amount like they used to in the past couple of years for certain exploits and certain things. So, I do think a lot of Microsoft's vulnerabilities are becoming to light because they're not wrapped up in the NDA, they're not wrapped up in the vulnerability disclosure programs and things of that nature. So a lot of people are just dropping it on Twitter. But hey, look what I just found, this big freaking gaping hole, right? Um, it's anybody who Microsoft is just a security hole. That's all there is to it. You know, we've seen, go back and look even in last year, I forget the CVEs, but there was about 4 or 5 of them that were released around summertime, if I remember correctly. I could be way off on my timeline here, but they were patching stuff that then left existing vulnerabilities or reintroduced existing vulnerabilities that they originally patched 3 or 4 years ago. So they would fix one problem, but reintroduce old vulnerabilities back into the OS framework. So, like I said, it's Microsoft is definitely just a walking, talking vulnerability. Sometimes it really makes me glad I have CrowdStrike. But anyway, on a side note, definitely follow the register. They're put out by Recorded Future, really good company. So, if they do put out a ton of great information, so definitely bookmark the register.com. They, like I said, they do some pretty good work over there, and it's definitely one to keep in your feed if it doesn't make, the CISO series timeline of information. So definitely a good resource, like I said.
Researchers find ways to search for hidden cameras. A new paper by researchers at Carnegie Mellon University outlines a system called Lumos that could use a phone or laptop to visualize hidden cameras in an AR interface. Lumos collects encrypted wireless packets over the air to detect concealed devices, estimating location by combining signal strength with relative user position. Changes in signal strength are monitored as a user moves, increasing the accuracy of the prediction. It can also identify devices based on MAC addresses. In a 1,000 square foot apartment, the researchers identified hidden devices with 95% accuracy with a median error of 1.5 meters within 30 minutes. And now,
All right, so pretty cool stuff, right? If you're wanting to find potentially hidden cameras inside of an apartment that you're renting, an Airbnb, but one of those other the name is escaping me now. I'm forgetting the alternative Airbnb. Whatever. I won't sit here for 5 minutes trying to remember that daggum name, but it's being able to see if anybody's actually tracking you, things of that nature. And but the other downside of this could actually be used in a malicious manner, right? You could definitely, if you're casing a joint, if you will, I'm going to put my pen tester, my physical pen tester hat on, if you will, for a moment. And Verbo, thank you very much. But if I am putting my physical pen tester hat on and I'm, trying to figure out ways to break in, this will be a very good tool for me to case the joint, if you will, and be able to see what potential cameras that may be hidden, so that way I can successfully complete my mission of getting into a building that, of course, we're being paid to do, but being able to get in with being undetected, things of that nature. So, again, cool technology, but being used in, I can see this thing being used in so much malicious ways, right? So, but I do think for the overall good, when you're traveling and things of that nature, being able to see if, somebody's watching you while you sleep in a rented house or a hotel room, be kind of creepy, right? So good technology. Hopefully doesn't get used for, like I said, malicious for nefarious reasons.
Now let's take a moment to thank today's sponsor.
Let's not.
Votes to advance intelligence sharing bill. The Senate Homeland Security Committee voted to advance the Intragovernmental Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, heads to the Senate floor for a vote. This bill would require that officials in both chambers of Congress receive direct and timely information about digital threats and network vulnerabilities from the executive branch. This would likely require formal data sharing agreements with the Department of Homeland Security, with both the House and Senate.
Is there a problem with the audio? I'm seeing some stuff in there in the chat. Josh, hit me up at Discord up. If I got a problem with my audio, please let me know. So Senate, okay, panel, okay, cybersecurity. So now you want the Senate. All right, Josh, thank you so much, bud. So you now want the Senate to get read in on cybersecurity information. Does anybody else see the problem with this? Right? I mean, I grant. What is the Senate going to? What? Okay. Son of a biscuit. The government is there to help, naturally protect its land, right? It's sovereign citizens. It's there to protect the borders and protect. Again, let's not get political, but it's there to protect and from foreign adversaries, things of that nature. And I get it, but I don't know why the Senate needs to be read in on ransomware attacks. Turn on your local freaking news. It's there all the time, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, people like us in the InfoSec community will probably know more about what breaches that have happened that are being disclosed before the White House does, because they're leaked on Tor. So, and we have tons of feeds that have that. So I don't know if the US government, aka Biden, any 3-letter agency would know about a potential cyber attack on a regular SMB infrastructure, at least, than the common person nowadays, right? If you know where to look, then I don't know. I don't understand why they need to be read in on these things. They know what's going on. Do they just want a reason to kill more trees and print out more papers or something? This one may actually be on my radar for tomorrow. I don't know. This definitely has me curious because I don't know about this this landmark bill that they have a link in here. So this is definitely something that's got my interest to figure out what are they really after and what are they trying to gather. But my antennas are up, if you will. I don't know. I just think something is quote unquote afoot. So, oh well. More to come, I'm sure.
Legal sector fighting the impacts of insider threats. According to official figures from the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, 68% of data breaches at UK law firms were the result of insiders in Q3 2021, with the rest coming from outside threats. The analysts at Net Documents estimate the number to be inflated as a result of the so-called Great Resignation, with workers changing jobs increased rates since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. 54% of these insider threat data breaches were caused by human error, like forwarding information to the wrong party. 10% of the breaches were due to data loss, while 25% were the result of phishing attacks, which really feels more like specialized instances of human error.
Yeah, so goodness gracious. All right. Even though I know that we've talked about this a ton, right? But I know that we may have some new people that are just finding out about this channel. So let's go ahead and dive down this path a little bit, right? Insider threats, yes. As COVID was hitting, insider threats definitely became a more real thing because it was much easier from a remote location to sell off, your company's the company that you worked for's intellectual data and privacy, things of that nature, to a company that you're going off to. I won't get into the specifics, but we actually had a case about 2 months ago. I think I've talked about here before, but they had a senior level in the organization who put in their 2 weeks that they were going to work for one of their biggest rivals. And they're like, We need to make sure they're not taking our intellectual data and then sending it off to their rival company that he's openly going to go work for. So, that's just one case. There's been, if y'all remember the Lapsus group, they're just one of these type of threats where they will pay an insider to get them remote access into their network, things of that nature, so that way they can drop their own payloads, right? Most of the time it's IT people. They're on their way out anyway. The quote unquote Carl in accounting has decided he's going to retire and kick rocks down at the beach, and he's just done, right? So he's going to try to cash out and get a big payday before he leaves. So that's what a lot of the insider threats. Of course, we do have business email compromise. I cannot tell you how many times I hear stories around someone will actually have a traditional fax machine. They actually have the actual fax machine or the multi-purpose printer that has the faxing capability. And, hospitals love to still use faxes. And when I was at a colo building, plus again, like I said, I keep hearing stories about this where you would accidentally get faxes sent to you because they missed out a number, or they had the number programmed wrong on the system or something. Be like, yeah, ABC Medical, we just got an entire patient referral faxed over to us. We're a law firm. We're this, we're that. I mean, what are you doing? So, those type of things happen all the time. And, CCing emails, I can't tell you how many times, even personally, I get in a hurry and I accidentally CC the wrong company. It happens, right? Human error. So, these are definitely things, that you need to look out for in your infrastructure. Have conversations internally. How are we looking for these type of things? How are we going to mitigate these type of things? And better yet, how are you going to respond to these type of things? These we always talk about. Here's a good thing. We always talk about tabletop exercises. Let's have a tabletop exercise. What happens if you're working with one of your vendors and you accidentally CC one of one of your other vendors, schematics of a widget, or not a widget, a widget. Sorry. What kind of things would you do in that type of situation, right? Most of the time, you're like, "Oh, please disregard," and it's not a big deal. But what if it was a big deal? Have those quote unquote tabletop exercises in there. So there you go. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful. I know I go a little long sometimes.
Proton Mail unified its products. The privacy-focused email and VPN provider rebranded as Proton, updating its tiers to combine encrypted mail, calendar, and VPN. Now offers 1 gigabyte of storage and access to one calendar. A Mail Plus tier costs €5 a month with 15 gigabytes of storage and support for 20 calendars. The Unlimited tier costs €12 a month, offers 500 gigabytes of storage, gets you 3 custom domains, as well as full access to Proton VPN's network with Tor over VPN features. Proton VPN will continue to be offered as a standalone product as well.
All right, I'm going to say this as Eric Taylor, owner of Barricade Cyber, and not anybody else, but I freaking hate Proton Mail. I hate them. I hate them with a passion. The reason I hate them is because 9 times out of 10, these smaller ransomware groups all use Proton Mail to obfuscate their information, right? We've actually shut down several organizations using AOL, the Stop Ransomware group. We keep finding them and we keep stopping them, things like that. But Proton, the smaller operators, not Conti or anything, that have the public name and shame site, you have, the README files, and it will be to email Proton Mail. I was actually in 2 different engagements where we were communicating with Proton. I ended up setting up a Proton Mail because 9 times out of 10, we always use a pseudo personality. I'll be Jane Smith. I will be Bubba Jones. I will be, whatever for that particular case. Every case has got a different, different personality. But maybe that's why I'm a little crazy. But anyway, but yeah, we'll do that. And I just figured I would try Proton Mail working with an adversary that was using Proton Mail because I wanted to find out what it was. But Proton shut my accounts down during the middle of a ransomware negotiation, and it took like 5 or 6 days to get that account back up again. So they're monitoring what you're doing, even though they claim they're not monitoring what you're doing. And it's just, I don't know. They just give a blind eye to a lot of ransomware groups. And when you just see a ton of ransomware groups using a particular product, I already just don't like it. It's like, all right, we're driving a Mack truck or whatever, and we're harboring a bunch of criminals back here, right? So that's just my 2 cents. I personally don't like Proton Mail, and I wish they would go away.
Tera Blockchain restart approved. The proposal from Terraform Labs CEO Do Kwon to relaunch the embattled blockchain received approval from 65.5% of governance votes, with 13.2% voting no and the rest abstaining. This new blockchain will airdrop tokens proportionately to those impacted by the sudden collapse of the T algorithmic stablecoin, with many of these initial drops subject to vesting periods. Based on the proposal, this Terra 2.0 blockchain will hit the mainnet by the end of the week. This rebooted blockchain will exist without the UST token, which was the primary purpose of the original. If you enjoy hearing the...
Yeah, be quiet. So, all right, so I've got a very limited knowledge of cryptocurrency and blockchain. Yes, we do use it in our organization to help facilitate ransomware payments and things of that nature for our customers going against the OFAC list for the IRS, things of that nature. So, I do have a decent working knowledge of the blockchain and different cryptocurrencies and things of that nature, but I'm no guru. So I say that going into this that I may mess something up. So if I do, please correct me. But I think I'm understanding what they're doing here. So it looks like Tera, which I've not heard of this particular coin, was originally backed by the USD T, which is another cryptocurrency. So in my experience, there is several cryptocurrencies that are dependent on another currency, like Ethereum. So you would have to have a certain amount of Ethereum to be able to have another cryptocurrency that leveraged the Ethereum blockchain. So it was like a building block, if you will. And it looks like Terra is using the USDT coin to actually build it up. So apparently they're getting away from that and using, I guess, their own blockchain now. Maybe they've gotten a little bigger, but it looks like they've had a lot of problems reading this article. And a lot of the quote unquote startup blockchains and startup coins, they have a lot of fumbling periods and things of that nature. So, definitely keep it on, your watch. It's like if you're into cryptocurrency, and you're heavily invested and you're diversifying and you're doing all that stuff, right? So it may be something to look at. It may be a new upcoming cryptocurrency that you may want to be able to set up. I don't know. But again, that's about all I got to say about that one. I'm Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, hope everybody has enjoyed this week. Jerry will be back tomorrow unless he is in travel hell and unable to make it back, and then we will pitch it and figure out what we need to do. But as last we heard, we will have our faithful leader back at the helm again tomorrow. I really do appreciate everybody attending. Thank you so much. I can't thank you guys enough. It's been awesome to be here with you week. Definitely please follow Barry Cyber on YouTube. Like I said, we do put out a lot of stuff. Go follow Josh, go follow Jax. We're always we're trying to do some awesome content with different flavors, different type of material that hopefully you will be able to find interesting to you and yourself. And please share this content out, even if it's not mine, if it's Jerry's or something. Please share this content out to people that you think will be able to enjoy this and gain some knowledge out from this. Until next time. Y'all take care.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go.
Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.